you one thing, if a little green man pops out of me, I'm shooting first and asking questions later.
You are on the verge of destroying the entire universe.
Welcome to the Strange Podcast with Sam and Logan.
All right, and welcome to the Strange Podcast. I'm Logan Marks.
I'm Sam Baxter. Today is October 15th, 2017.
And today we're going to be talking about Andrew the Time Traveler and Robert Johnson, the man that sold his soul to the devil.
Yeah, these are very interesting stories, but first of all, man, before we get into this, how was your day? You do anything fun today?
Well, I went to church. Basically, I went to Costco.
Yeah.
And
all right. That religious cult, I gotcha.
Got my free samples. And
all right, free food.
And, and then I would go around and then try to come back and pretend I'm somebody else and try to grab more.
You know, sometimes that works, but I'll tell you what, there's been a couple times when I've been lucky with the girls. I've been like, hey, I just want to go home. You want to just take all the rest of my stuff? I'm like, fuck, are you serious?
Really?
Yeah. One time I went in there and I went in there like 8 o'clock and the girl's like, hey, you want a fruit roll up? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, I was kind of hungry. Take a little snack before dinner. And she's like, hey, come back here. I'm like, oh, so you talking to me? She's like, yeah. I was like, oh, fuck, what'd I do now?
It sounds like a shady deal, like the guy's
I
just
know.
going to sell you drugs.
I know, but you know, this young girl, and I'm thinking, okay, she works there. It's like, hopefully she's not going to call the security on me for just being, you know, who I am. So she goes, hey, why don't you take the rest of these? I'm like, I don't really need all these. She goes, just take them. She goes, I can't leave. I can't go home until I get rid of all these. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, what the fuck you doing? You pushing your fruit roll-ups on me? And she's like, yeah, you know, just take them. I want to go home. I was like, fuck, all right, Owen, you know, if you want me to take them, I'll take them.
I usually just throw them in the garbage, but
yeah. Well, no, she couldn't do that. I mean, she was in the middle of the store. You know, there's no garbage next to her, and I think they were watching and making sure that she was getting rid of them, and they just wouldn't allow it. It's like they have a quota. Like they have to force themselves to be on you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Neither did I. It surprised me, but she's like, yeah, I want to just get out of here. I'm like, all right, I'll help you out, and you help me out. I got some snacks for the week.
So you're walking out with your pockets full of. Like,
I was literally. She gave me a whole box, like 2 boxes of them, and I was stuffing my pockets. So I'm like, damn, you know. Reminded me of that old Saturday Night Live bit where the guy stuffed his crotch with napkins. I had fruit roll-ups coming out of my pants everywhere. It's like I just, you know, I had people looking at me like, oh shit, and I had the women looking at me like, that guy's kind of disgusting, but I like it.
He's got a fruit roll-up boner.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't know what I was packing, so it didn't matter. All they knew is that it was fruity. Fruity-licious.
And then so I got an old computer, so I was doing a factory reset on it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because it was like running like super slow, so I was like, oh, you know what, I got to get all the porn off. I got to get all the...
Why would you want to get the porn off?
Well, you know, it's all online now, so no need to keep it on there.
Oh, you actually had it on there. They were actually stored on there.
Well, it was an old computer, man. So
this is old, man. Yeah, you're right. I didn't know.
So now
how was that?
Yeah, well, now it's running pretty smooth now, so...
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So the porn's wiped, and you know now you just stream it. It's all good.
So like in another 3 months, it should be full again.
Yeah, I know. Just can't learn. Everyone keeps telling you, come on, Logan, you can just stream it. No, I just gotta download it. I think I have to download it. Just like in early '90s.
What if something happens? There's an electrical storm, and I have it.
And it's not stored on my PC.
The internet goes out, and I just have enough for the generator to run the computer.
Yeah, I know. I could either keep the house warm or I could have porn. It's like the generator's gonna be for the computer.
So what did you do today?
You know, just kind of slow day. Just kind of hung out, watched a couple movies. Do you ever remember that old movie, The Karate Kid?
Yeah. With
remember that piece of shit? Remember that Daniel LaRusso? How he just took out the whole Cobra Kai?
Yeah. Did you ever see that one? That video where it shows like the Karate Kid was actually the bad guy.
No, I did not.
Yeah, they go through. They show like all the stuff that happens because he's the one that starts the fights, and he's the one that's like just acts all crazy.
Well, he intervenes. Remember, he gets in the way.
Yeah, he was in like. They just, like if you watch it, it makes him sound like he's just a piece of shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he was a piece of shit. I mean, come on, man. I'm pretty sure he couldn't take out those guys who've been doing karate for years, and he did it in like 4 months of just fucking wax on, wax off, jack off, jack on. You know, it doesn't seem like that's plausible. But I mean, fuck, I hated that movie when I was a kid. That was a movie that everybody liked, and I just hated it. I thought it was so ridiculous. And even now as I watch it, it's so dumb. And there was sequels. Did you ever see the sequels when he went to Japan?
Yeah.
And then he came back on the third one, and he was like, all of a sudden in the third one, he didn't have to do the tournament. And since he was a defending champion, he could just fight in the championship round. It's like, what the fuck was that?
Like, he just shows up.
Like, Yeah, exactly. It's like the writers got lazy and they didn't care. So I was like, fuck, man, I don't like how this is going. That's why that franchise basically died. Besides him getting too old, I'm great. Granted, he was probably like 35 when that last movie came out, and he was still acting like he was 20. But
Is he still?
I mean, do you remember?
Is he still alive?
You know what? IMDb says he is, so I guess so. When does the internet ever lie,
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
So I think he's still doing stuff, but I mean, it's not anything like super important like Z Nation or anything. It's not like a good show. It's probably like some romantic comedy or something.
Oh, he's probably just staying at home raising his kids.
I mean, are you kidding me, man? He's got to be a grandpa now.
How old is he?
Oof.
Man, how old am I?
What year is this? What galaxy are we in? Fuck. Yeah, so I don't know how old he is, but I know I remember in the 80s he was probably like in his early 20s, like 24. So he's got to be like in his almost 50s.
Yeah, he's 51.
Yeah, there you go.
So he's raising his grandkids.
He's got something, man. He could have a young wife. He could have a 22-year-old wife, and he just had his first kid.
That's true. I mean,
she might love him as Daniel LaRusso and just like feel like she's making love to Daniel every night. Yeah.
he's all like, "Do the kick,
the
kick.
the
Get on the
stupid
bed,
crane
get on
kick.
the
Yeah.
corner of the bed and do the kick."
Do the crane kick,
Yeah,
Give
and
it to
then
me, baby.
We'll just get it on.
I know. Oh man, I ended up watching that, and I was starting to reminisce about some of his old movies. There was another movie he had. I don't know if you remember. It was a couple years after Karate Kid. It was called Crossroads. Did you ever see that one?
The Britney Spears?
No, fuck, no, not the Britney Spears. Now, is that someone who's still alive? Nah, I don't care. Let's not look that up. But anyway, Britney's the Crossroads from it's like 1986.
Where he sells, where he's with that black dude, and he's like
a blues player.
The blues player.
Yeah, so
And
Ralph
then he
Macchio
goes and sells his soul or something to play guitar or something.
Yeah, he finds him in an assisted living home, and he's an old man, and he's just crotchety and pissed off, and he ends up finding out as Ralph Macchio is a guitar player from Juilliard, and he finds out that the guy had sold his soul to the devil, and the guy wants him to help him redeem it. It was a cool concept, and I thought, is anything like that ever true? So I was just kind of looked it up, and I was kind of looking up what the crossroads really mean. And it's supposed to be like a location between worlds where like the supernatural spirits can be contacted, like between two realms. Like it's a place that's neither here nor there, because it's almost like an infinity spot, right? So I was kind of looking into some of that, and I did some reading about it. And there was a few people that have claimed to use the crossroads to their advantage in life. And the way they did that was allegedly like they sold their soul to the devil.
Is there a certain way that you have to do this, or
Okay, so there was a violinist in the 1700s, Giuseppe Tartini, and he was he had a dream, and the devil came to him in his dream, and he sold his soul to the devil. I guess verbally there, the devil took his violin, played it, and then when he woke up, he was able to play. There's been certain people that allegedly had just simple ways of selling their soul like that. But there was one person who was pretty prominent that he's had a pretty lasting effect on a lot of people. His name was Robert Johnson. He was a blues player in the early 1900s. So this guy was born in 1911, died in 1938. He was only 27 years old, from Mississippi. Poor guy. He was poor, like youngest of 10. But this guy really liked the blues. And he was not a good musician for guitarist. He was a good harmonica player, but his guitar play was garbage. It was from what I was reading, he was just horrendous. So he had a couple friends that he would follow around. Other blues players that were really good, named Sam House and Willie Brown, were his friends. So whenever they'd be playing, he'd be following them, tagging along at their concerts. And when they go out and take a smoke break or whatever, he'd be like, "Hey, can I get on the guitar?" And like, "Go ahead, kid. Just don't ruin the house." And he would ruin the house. People would be like, "Get those."
And everybody's like, "I'm getting out of here. Screw this guy."
Yeah. They'd come out. They'd go out to Sam and Willie and be like, "Hey, get this son of a gun out of here. This guy sucks." And they're like, "Hey, we're on smoke break. We're not paid."
You gotta hear it. You're just gonna have to.
Yeah, you're gonna have to endure this crap. And so he was pretty bad. So this was around the time, like in the South, when like the blues was known to be like devilish music, right? Because a lot of religious folks down there, Southern Baptists and all that, it was all about the church. And if you didn't follow the church, basically doing blues and music was like devilish.
Just so swaying your hips.
Yeah.
Moving your hips around.
Yeah, exactly. So it was basically a taboo. There was other singers who sung about the devil. Like in their music, they had references to him or actually said him. It seemed like a little more prominent than I thought it would be. But this guy, Robert Johnson, the reason why the people think he sold his soul is because, as I said, the guy, Sam House and Willie Brown, they said after he had botched a few of their concerts when he tried to intervene and just play his own guitar, and he just killed it. Like, not in a good way killed it, but he just, he pissed everybody off.
Yeah, just stunk it up.
Just shit the bed. And he, allegedly after that, he like disappeared from, this is Sam's account. Sam House, which is a blues player, said he disappeared for 6 months. He came back and he reappeared in Mississippi where they were playing. And he showed up and he made his way up to the concert. They're like, hey, there's Robert. Or Bob, as they called him. It's like, so there's Bob. And he made his way up to the front. And they were playing, they were doing their set. And then when it came to their break, he said, hey, can I go up there and just play? And they're like, yeah, go ahead, boy, They look at each other, kind of wink, yeah, like, hey, we know what's going to happen, but we're your friends, go ahead. Well, he got up there, and he just started killing it in a good way. He was fantastic. So a lot of people were like, whoa. A lot of people in the audience knew that he had sucked, and they were expecting him to suck. But when he got on and played, he was just killing it, and he could sing, and he could just play the guitar, he could just rip. So this led people to think that maybe he had some type of supernatural assistance.
Are you sure, like, it wasn't like cocaine? Like, it was just...
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. So, no, I mean, I don't think so, because he was doing this, he was like this, like, everywhere. He was just really good.
Just ripping it up, huh?
Yeah, just like before, he was nothing. He like I said, he couldn't carry a tune. And now he was just fantastic. So I kind of looked into that a little bit more deeper, and one of the songs he did was called Crossroads Blues. And so a lot of people think this has to do with him selling his soul to the devil. But the lyrics don't necessarily say anything about that. It just describes him at the crossroads. He's trying to hitchhike, and it should be an easy place to hitchhike, because it's a four-way. There's no stop sign, so people have to stop. And, he's figuring that I can get a hitchhike right here because people stop. Someone's going to let me in. Well, nobody's letting them in. So basically, I kind of looked it up, and it's just, his songs are short. And I kind of went through some of the stanzas. There's like 5 different parts in that song. And basically in the first one, he's basically on his knee asking God for mercy. And then the second stanza, he's expressing his self-pity because he's unable to flag down a ride. Nobody's stopping for him. And then the third stanza, his luck's running out, the sun's setting. He's discussing like, oh my gosh, like sun's going down, my luck is ending. Fourth one, his Willie Brown, his friend that I had said, he wants somebody to let Willie know that he's screwed. Get in contact with Willie, let him know that I'm shit out of luck. And the fifth one, he's talking about wishing he had not having a sweet woman, wishing he had a woman by his side to like basically comfort him. Robert was like known to be sort of a ladies' man. A lot of his songs delved into having a woman. So in that one, a lot of people took that as him like basically saying his goodbyes because the devil was going to come get him. He wasn't able to escape. Maybe that personified not catching a ride as him escaping his fate. So I thought that was interesting, and you could see it both ways. You could see it just as being a song as somebody just out of luck, or you can think of it as him, like I said, personifying that he's done. His time is up. So like when you get to the crossroads, he made the deal, and now like after the deal, like he just he's waiting for the other shoe to drop. He has to, his fulfilled, the devil gave him what he wanted, and then his time fulfilling is the devil's going to come to collect, and he's trying to get away. But it almost like as if in this song he's saying, I can't get out. I'm like stuck. Nobody's helping me. I'm done. Time's running out. Sun going down. Tell my friend and my woman that I wish I had a woman here to comfort me, and I wish my buddy was here that I could tell him, hey, I'm out. Again, you could see that as just being a song with him having no luck at a crossroads. Like a crossroads should be an easy place to catch a ride, but he just does not have luck to do it. Or he could, like as a lot of people thought, is a supernatural tale, a spin where the devil's coming to collect him. And
did anybody ever like ask him, or did he do like any interviews about it?
well, the bad thing about Robert Johnson is this is way, like I said, early 1900s. There's not tons of information about him. Not a lot of interviews. There's only 2 pictures of him, actual pictures that can be verified that are of him. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of like a low-key guy that a lot of people didn't really get a lot of information about. That's what makes this so difficult and hard to understand. It's because a lot of things were very ambiguous. And so you don't really know what... You can only get it from his music. You know how a lot of artists, let their heart out in their music. You got Taylor Swift stinking it up with all these, boyfriend, breaking up with her, and she's getting revenge. Yeah, and she's getting revenge on them. How dare they?
Like we all know you're just a hoe girl.
Yeah. and so this could be something like that. Let me give you another quick example. He had another song called Hellhound on My Trail. So in this song, he speaks about a darker tone as he's being pursued from a hellhound, and no matter how hard he runs, he can't escape it. It's basically the whole song is talking about that it's just on his tail. He can't get away.
So he keeps a lot of the same themes in all his music then.
Yeah, and just one real quick one. There's another one, Me and the Devil's Blues. And it's basically, the song starts, he wakes up with the devil knocking at his door. He greets the devil, and the next stanza he greets the devil saying, hey, it's time to go. He's telling the devil that it's time to go. So the next part of the song, they're talking about him and the devil walking side by side on his way to go meet his woman so he can go beat her. And then, like, towards the end, the woman knows that he has to beat her because it's not him, it's the old evil spirit deep in the ground that's making him do this.
So like he's talking about possession?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. So it was just like
he's all sitting there like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, but I have
but
to.
I gotta do
right?
it.
This is exactly what I have to do. So again, there's that whole aspect of it, and then, but there's also like some people who claim that he wasn't gone for 6 months. Some people said he went to go with a fellow bluesman named Isaiah Ike Zimmerman, and he went to his place in Bogard, Mississippi. And Zimmerman was known to like playing in graveyards at night because it was quiet, it was peaceful, it was tranquil, nobody to bother you, right? So he would play there, and I guess Robert went with him. Some people say that he went there for like 3 years and was training every night with him, playing all night with him. But other people think, well, maybe he did go and he went to train with Zimmerman, but because he still wasn't good enough to further his guitar skills, he had to sell his soul. So there's always the aspect of him having sold his soul there.
I see. Could it be that he was practicing a lot, or that he sold his soul?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Nobody could be that good. Damn it.
Practice never makes perfect. That's just
exactly.
he sold his soul.
Yeah. He's a devil. He's a devil. I've seen it.
The devil. Stay away from his music. Swaying his hips.
Yeah. But the bad thing, and like I said, since there was not a lot of information on him, he died in 1938, a year after he recorded his all his music. And he was really a ladies' man, from what I read. Like, he would go to every city he was in, he'd always get another woman, and he didn't care if they were ugly, beautiful.
He just loved the ladies. Huh?
It didn't matter to him. He just wanted to get some tail. So, and he would, but they think that he had like maybe crossed some woman who had a jealous husband. So some of the stories say that he could have been stabbed, poisoned, internal bleeding because he drank moonshine all the time. Or the most common one that people say is the devil came back to take what was rightfully his. So I'm not saying he sold his soul. Certain aspects, kind of pivot that way. But there's also, like you said, practice could just make perfect, and he could have just died at a young age where, they didn't really know how to handle it when he was sick. Because they said he suffered for a few years.
Yeah. Is there any other people that has sold their soul that you know of?
Well, not that I know of personally. Who told you I did? Oh, wait. Oh, you're asking me. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you knew I did.
Insinuating.
Yeah. There was another guy that, like in England in the 1700s, he was a brigadier general, Jonathan Moulton, and this guy he had wanted riches. I guess he had served the king, the army, the English army, and he was pretty high ranking, but he wanted money. He was just a gold whore, and I guess he had made a deal with the devil that the devil would come and fill his boot with gold. And so, I think it was every night, or maybe it was every month. I don't remember exactly. I kind of read that quickly, but basically he got greedy, and so he, in his basement, at the bottom, he had the boot in the floor, and, like on the ground, but he cut a hole in the bottom of the floor and the boot. So when the devil was allegedly pouring the gold in, it would just keep pouring. He was trying to dupe the devil.
Dupe the devil?
Having a hole in the boot, and the hole was emptying out into the basement.
Oh.
So when the devil was pouring his gold, it would just keep pouring, right? Because it would never fill up. So he was trying to do that. He was getting a little greedier, and so the devil found out and burned his place down. So fuck you, man.
You don't mess with the devil.
Yeah, I get the fuck with you. You don't fuck with me.
I will burn this house down.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You done fucked up, motherfucker. And one other one was another one that I thought was kind of crazy was another Christoph Haseman. He was in the 1600s, 1651, 52. He was a painter who also allegedly sold his soul to escape poverty and depression. So he had agreed to be the so-called, air quotes, son of the devil on earth. And he had claimed to sign 2 documents, one in just regular ink and one in his own blood. And after when the 9 years was coming up, he was getting all depressed and freaked out. So he went to the Catholic Church to get an exorcism. And the exorcism, actually, I guess it had broke the pact, and he was able to free himself. And he lived for like another, 50 years. But he became very religious.
Oh, really? I didn't know you can break a pact with the devil.
Allegedly this guy. I know. I've been trying for years, but.
You think they'd be like Devil's Court, where it's like look, I have these signed documents. It's in its own blood, so you should be able.
Yeah.
I should be able to take them.
Yeah, I know, huh? But I guess they did an exorcist, right? They did an exorcist allegedly, and it broke it. But the devil was persistent, and allegedly the devil would always come back to him and with his hellhounds and always keep on him. Like, hey,
trying to bring him back.
Yeah, come on. You want to join me. And I guess a lot of his pictures depicted like a lot of his interactions with the devil.
Does he have like a lot of pictures that they have like online or what?
I believe so. Yeah, but like some of his pictures depict him with his interactions with the devil. You can go on there and see them.
Interesting.
So these were just very interesting ones that I thought were, again, these could just be jealous people who think, hey, you can't be fucking better than me, But I think that these guys, they do have like a history. This is like well known through society or over the years that these guys did sell the soul. And again, there's no way to disprove it, and there's no way to prove it.
There's really not any like more recent people that do it, like in the last 10, 15 years that I've ever heard of.
Fuck. Do you know the only one who I could say would do that would probably been Hitler?
Well, I know he was like into the occult, like he did a lot of stuff in the occult.
He was, and he was pretty fucked up. And look at how many people he killed, how many Jews that they wiped out. Look how many countries that they were conquering. I mean, there was just 3 countries, them, Italy, and Japan, that had made the pact, and they were, basically it was like 90% German, 10% Italian. They were conquering all of Europe. I mean, fuck, what are the odds of doing that? I mean, they were unstoppable until they got too greedy and they went after Russia, as we all well know. They almost got to Moscow. And if we didn't intervene, the United States didn't intervene, this things could have been very different. I mean, I'm just saying that guy came from nowhere, and he brought the fear, and he blamed the Jews, and they all jumped on that, and they killed at will. I don't know. Do you think there's anybody else who could have, besides Taylor Swift, sold her soul? So I don't know how she's popular. Sorry, peoples, but she ain't my type of gal.
I don't know. I like some of her music.
How dare you?
Yeah, it looks like Hitler. He tried to get like the Spear of Destiny.
He was into that,
and
man.
The Holy Grail.
I mean, he was on to something.
So yeah, maybe he might have. Yeah, I could see him doing it.
What if he obtained it and just like, remember Raiders of the Lost Ark? Remember they got that ark, but they just put it away in a fucking warehouse with millions of other things.
Only if like we get like travel back in time.
You know, that would be interesting. I wonder if anyone's ever done that.
Yes, there has been a man.
There has been, for sure.
Yes. Let me tell you about a guy named Andrew Bashago. So he's an attorney based in Vancouver, Washington. So he's around here.
Washington State.
Yeah, Washington State. He was born in September 1961
Okay.
in Morristown, New Jersey. And as a young boy, Andrew said that he was blessed with special abilities.
What type of abilities?
Yeah, he says he was able to levitate small objects and that he can kind of read people's minds. So he was pretty much like a lame ass X-Men.
Okay.
So Andrew, he grew up, he was a smart guy. He had a high IQ. He was a member of Mensa. And he studied American history at UCLA, graduated in 1994. He then became a journalist and an editor. And while he was doing that, he studied environmental law at Lewis and Clark Law School in Portland, Oregon. So, and then in 1996, he passed the bar. And now he has a private practice. So he seems like a normal guy, intelligent, except for like his little mutant powers that he claims he has.
Sure.
But then in 2004, Andrew started making claims that he was part of a special program called the Project Pegasus.
They pay like the horse? Like the...
Yeah, like the horse, yeah. So Project
From Clash of Titans?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it started in 1968 by DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Okay.
And it's an agency created in the 58 by President Eisenhower after the Russians launched Sputnik 1 in 57. Because pretty much everyone, when they launched it, pretty much everyone just got this shit scared out of them. They're like,
Fuck
"What the hell's
yeah.
up there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's like communism.
Yeah, big advantage.
And yeah. So it was a mission. So it was their mission to keep the U.S. ahead in technology and science. So you know they wouldn't get caught with their pants down again.
Could be bad in the wrong situation.
Yeah. So at the age of 7, Andrew and like 139 other kids were secretly enrolled in the Project Pegasus, and they're basically
How many were?
Like 100. There's 140
140
kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any significance with that number?
No, that's how many that he just said they had.
Okay.
So they were there to perform remote sensing in time. The program was having the children provide the American president, the military, the intelligence community with reliable information about past and the future by time traveling. So, and they called these kids chrononauts.
Chrononauts?
Yeah.
Do you know what you mean? Autobots?
Autobots.
Okay.
So Andrew claims that there were like several devices that they used for time travel. Most of these machines were created by stolen designs from Nikola Tesla.
Oh, Tesla was a smart motherfucker.
Yeah. So like after he died in 43, they pretty much stole all the schematics that were there, and they used it to build teleportation devices using what Andrew calls radiant energy. Causing what it does is causes shimmering curtains between two elliptical booms, and it creates a portal, allowing the children to teleport from one location to another in seconds.
Really?
So Andrew says there were other machines as well, ones that would send them through time, and other ones that would send like a holographic versions of themselves to other locations, kind of like Ziggy from Quantum Leap.
No shit.
Yeah.
All right.
So there was different machines that they would use. You know, they had ones that could go through time, and then ones that would like jump through different dimensions.
What was the purpose of going to another dimension?
If they travel back in time, they would split the timeline. So there'd be different versions of Earth.
Sure, like in Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
When Biff took over Hill Valley.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
They made an alternate reality. I gotcha.
So Andrew explains that the secret government project used kids. He used the kids because the time travel effect on them was too difficult for adults' brains to grasp. But
difficult.
Yeah, but children were able to do it because they were still developing and can handle the effects of the travel.
So up to how old could these children be?
So they grab. It looked like they were grabbing them like 7 to about before puberty.
Okay.
7 to,
so once they hit puberty, they were ruined.
I think so because like what he says was like jumping from time to time would kind of mess up the brain because it would just be too much for someone to handle. But like a kid, you know, they have all this imagination and they can
Sure.
They can like to them it's just like something that's happening. They're kind of used to it because that's what they know.
Yeah. They haven't learned that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
So their brain won't fight it.
Yeah, pretty much. So they'll accept it.
Sure.
Andrew recalls like risks during the early days of the program. He remembers one of the kids returning back from the portal with the absence of his legs. The kid, he said he saw the kid on the floor screaming and fumbling around on the floor, and then like seconds later, like his legs emerge and just land on top of him.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so like after a few seconds, just comes out, and so like he was basically split in half.
Oh man. So
yeah, so
he was done.
Yeah, so that kid was done.
Game over, man. Game over.
Game over.
Fuck.
Andrew also remembers when he traveled. He remembers it'd be like really extremely turbulent and going through the portal. That like it wasn't safe. But he says like after a couple of years, the technology got better and it became safer.
So how many missions did he go on, and what were his missions regarding?
Many of the missions he was sent back to the 1800s, and he says that he was at Abraham Lincoln's famous Gettysburg Address in 1863. Yeah, and he claims to have he's gone back dressed as like a bugle boy, a Union bugle boy, and that he was photographed. So like you could like if you go to his website, you can see like a picture of it's.
I have
kind
seen
of
that. I have seen.
Have
that.
you seen it?
Yeah.
And it's kind of blurry. You can't even tell who it is.
I know it could be some
it's
kid.
Like
It could just be some dipshit kid there that just gotten the fucking photo bombed. And
yeah.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah. So like he it's like all blurry, it's black and white, and it just looks like a crowd. Like they could have went to like a reenactment somewhere, or even if they just grabbed a picture from anywhere, like you can't really tell who it is.
So what was his reason for going to see Lincoln?
They would just go just to get information. So that they would just for like I said for information for like the president, for intelligence, or just to go like to get like proper information about of history. So because they would send them in the past and they would send them in the future.
Do they think they ever altered history and made another timeline by doing that?
One time he says that he traveled back to the Ford Theater when President Lincoln was assassinated, and he said that in fact he'd been there so many times that he even ran into himself from the past and himself from the future.
Can that be a what's that, time paradox?
I don't know. I guess like Back to the Future. If you don't touch him, you'll be all right.
Okay.
So like that's why he thinks like there's different alternative timelines, because he would go back and he would see himself.
So was he the only one from that his whole team of 140 that would go see Lincoln, or was there like lots of them that did?
There's lots of them that went different places, and sometimes a couple of them went to the same place at the same time.
So what? So he couldn't get it right like the first 5 times, so like he kept running himself like 20 times in because he couldn't get that shit right, or what?
Well, I don't think he wasn't really. He didn't say he was there to like fix anything or do anything.
No. He couldn't get the information to bring back right. I mean,
I say like he comes back with a list to get milk.
Yeah, I know.
Told you to go back there to see what Lincoln was
Yeah,
wearing.
what was he wearing? Oh, I think I got stopped and I was drinking some booze, talking to this woman, and yeah. So okay. So he went back a few times. Did he ever go to the future?
Yeah, he went to the future. He even traveled into the year 2045, where he describes it as the people being like taller and thinner, with there's a mixture of races. So there's not just like different races. It's like everybody's just kind of mixed together. He said that people in the future seemed to be nicer, like friendlier. It was more of a relaxed atmosphere.
Do you think they're all like on opium or heroin?
Probably. That's the only thing I could conclude.
Weed, man. Weed's legal everywhere.
Yeah, that's why they legalized it.
Everyone
nice.
realizes that shit needs to be legal everywhere. You heard it here. You heard it from this kid.
From the future.
Yeah. 2045. Weed is good.
Weed is good.
So everybody went there. He went there, and everybody was a lot nicer, friendlier, skinnier, taller.
Yeah, it's just basically better than what we are, I guess.
Are you sure this wasn't a movie that he was watching or something?
I know.
Fuck, sounds like a flick.
And then he also says like the cities were like more environmentally friendly. Like they would like the cities were built to combine with nature and urban terrain, so they called them like garden cities.
What the fuck does that mean?
Well, like like you'd have a building, but it was like there's a lot of like plants and trees built within it.
Interesting. What was his reason to go there?
They send him places to just observe, basically.
Oh, so he just went to observe, check it out.
Yeah, and then he would come back and they would debrief him and stuff. And so just so they can get like information, so they know what to do. You know, when things come up, they're like, well, you know, like we can do this and that because we already have the information of what we've done.
So with this knowledge, should we like never have a war again? Should we cure cancers and AIDS and all diseases? I mean,
well, apparently that wasn't
and
important
impotence?
because
Are they gonna cure
And
impotence
impotence.
too?
well, they got Viagra, so I mean,
Oh yeah, but I mean, so you don't need Viagra, you know, just so you're all good till you're like 80. You can just have morning wood all the time.
all the time. I think that's what Viagra does. So.
Yeah. But you have to pop that pill. I'm just saying, you guys got to be able to. You can have it just like when you're 15
Just like
or
you
18.
snap a finger, you just push a button on your hand.
Yeah. So the point is to just gather data and find out what's going on. I mean, was there any? Did he ever say like they were using it collectively to like avoid or maybe gain like advantages, like with like the Cold War or you know things in the future that we can avert?
From what I read, he never specified like what exactly he was doing. He was just like he would just come back with the information and then they would analyze it when he brought it back.
But I guess since there's 140 of them, you know, they're just all doing their own mission and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
but
they
the
probably just keep it
leaders do.
separated. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that you know you don't go around telling anybody.
Sure.
So
Can't
yeah, he
compare
said,
any
and then he
notes.
said that there was like no pollution, and the funny thing I thought was like he was like talking about how everybody knew him, that he was famous in the future.
He was famous.
Yeah, for like because everybody knew that he was a time traveler.
So was time travel like commonly done in the future?
Well, he says because in the future everybody like uses teleportation devices now,
No shit.
so there's no cars.
Well, that explains the clean air.
Yeah, so you know like everything's better in the future.
Damn. So how do we get to the future, man? What do we gotta do? Take some LSD and just have a trip and
No, I guess we just gotta wait and hope we don't die.
man. Is cryogenics ready? Can we do that? Somebody
You
can
know,
call to
freeze
get-
your head. You can have like the frozen head like on Futurama.
Yeah. Just the heads.
The
Yeah.
future's really shitty, man. It's just the head now.
Yeah. No, remember Nixon in the future on Futurama? He had the whole body. Remember he had the robotic body?
The robot body. That's the way to go right there. I'd do that. I'd take a
Remember that?
robot
I mean,
body.
you're basically immortal, right?
Pretty much. Okay. So time goes on, and then it's 1980 now.
Okay.
Pac-Man is taking the world by storm. Michael Jackson's Thriller album made everybody wear those ugly jackets, and
Yeah. Sure.
now 7-year-old Andrew, he's a teenager now.
Okay.
Okay, he's no longer a spring chicken.
Yep.
He's getting old, too old for time travel, so I guess they just kind of let him do teleportation. And so they decided they're going to collect this group of like 10 young adults.
Okay.
They're especially chosen for a Mars training mission at California College in Siskiyous. So now he's being used to travel in the thing they call the jump room. And it's basically a teleportation device, so he's no longer going through time, but he's going to the red planet. He's going to Mars now. So he's getting his ass to Mars.
So does he have to wear like a whole suit and everything, or they have some type of technology where he can just walk around normally, no problem?
Well, apparently he says that you can walk around over there with no problem. Like it's just there's atmosphere there.
What?
He says that he's basically an ambassador to the Martian people now. His job is to get the humanoids that are there acclimated to the presence of human beings.
Humanoids.
And he says that there's
okay.
So there's creatures there that are like us.
Sure.
And he says that there's structures there and there's animals there. It's basically like a full civilization.
Are they underground?
No, he says they're all on there. He has like pictures, like the pictures he has, you know, it's like all blurry and.
So he's telling me in the future there's no good cameras. So you trying to tell me there ain't shit for cameras?
They're still like taking Polaroids and stuff up there.
I know. See this Polaroid I took from the year 2045.
I got this camera from the 1800s. You got to sit there. You got to like put the explosive stuff on there and it just flashes.
Yeah. It'll be ready in 3 days. Don't worry, we can leave it in 3 days.
So yeah, so he's in the 80s. He's up there and he's traveling to Mars now.
Okay.
And Andrew claims that during the Mars missions, a member of his team that is someone that we all know, and he's pretty famous. At the time, the man went by the name of Barry Soetoro, but we all know him now as Barack Obama.
Oh.
So, yeah,
I
Barack
knew.
Obama.
I mean, hey, Donald Trump knew that he wasn't born in Hawaii. Fuck.
He was a Martian.
Like, Donald knew, man. He knew that.
He was right.
Yeah,
he was
he
right.
knew he wasn't a Hawaiian.
Yeah, and Andrew says that he spoke to Obama
Mm-hmm.
during one of the missions. I guess they were together.
Okay.
At one point in time, he kind of talked to him for a little bit. Not like he doesn't know him like best friends, but I guess he said he spoke to him.
Sure.
He claims that Obama's been to Mars at least twice, from 1981 to 1983.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, and of course, Obama denies any kind of the allegations.
Sure. So he met Obama. They've both travelers. They're both ambassadors.
Mm-hmm.
And
Friends of the Mars.
is he still doing it?
Barry says that he doesn't do it anymore.
Okay.
He's retired from Mars traveling, but
Retired, huh?
and Andrew doesn't do it anymore. He says either because he's got a new thing in life. Andrew's now starting the new Project Pegasus.
Oh, he's making his own.
The project is to disclose all the information the government won't tell you about teleportation and time travel and the Mars.
So what's the benefit of doing that?
Well, he says in the future, like how everyone is doing time travel, or everyone's like teleporting and stuff. The reason they know him is because he's the one that released the information. Because he ran for president in 2016.
Did he?
Yeah, he was
on the card.
He was on the card as Andy 2016, the time for truth. And what he wants to do is when he becomes president, is he wants to get all this information out to the people, get all that technology out so people can use it.
Why the fuck didn't Barry back him? If they're pals and they're on the same crew, man, why didn't Barry like, hey, you got to vote for this motherfucker?
Yeah, he's gonna make us all teleport.
Yeah, he's gonna make us. He's gonna
Dude,
make us better.
we wouldn't have to go like on airplanes anymore. We could just show up wherever we want.
But look, man, look at all the people that don't want this. Look at all the people that are the oil tycoons, and all the people that are in charge of all that, all the sheiks and everything in the Middle East.
Yeah, if we could put this all out though, and
if we become,
Obama.
Yeah, thanks Obama. So we could have been dependent from all these oils, and now we're not because this motherfucker didn't win to be the presidency. So is there any data that he has on his website or anything you could watch or that he explained that'll tell you how this works?
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff on YouTube. You could just look up his name, and he's got like tons. People have done tons of interviews on him, and I think it's kind of BS. But a lot of people like they listen to like he just sort of rambles on, and he just talks a bunch of science jargon. Like some people will just believe it because like he's just kind of dazzling them with science or science terms and stuff.
Exactly.
Look, you can go to his website, www.andy2020.net, and because he's running in 2020.
Why is he using .net? He can't get a .com. He can't secure the .com domain. Why didn't he just do like .edu or .ca? Sorry, Canadians, I'm not dissing you, but I'm just saying, what the fuck is he?
I don't know. Maybe.
Does he not have money?
Net's getting big now. Nobody wants to do .com anymore.
Is he? You said he's also a lawyer, right?
Yeah. So he has a practice.
So why is he doing that? Why doesn't he just commit all his time to just being time travel or telling everybody about all this?
He's got to earn money. You don't get money telling people. So he's got a couple books.
So by doing all his stuff. Going in the future, he didn't fucking remember like one World Series outcome, one Super Bowl outcome.
We could have made enough money to like.
You could have went to 2045 and said, "Hey, in 2017, this Super Bowl winner is going to be," right? he could bet like he could take those odds, man, and just make some money. Like Biff and Back to the Future. See, it always goes back to Biff and the Back to the Future too. Biff was ahead of himself.
Maybe he's just got a lot of integrity. He doesn't want. He knows what can happen.
A lot of integrity. Yeah.
Well, maybe he did in a different timeline. We're just not living in it.
Could be, or maybe he didn't. He fucks things up so bad, right? Like Biff did in Back to the Future too.
Yep. I know.
He fucked up Hill Valley. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Remember
yeah.
George McFly was shot and was allegedly killed in the back. Remember?
Maybe that's what Andy's planning to do now.
Maybe he did. Maybe he did make an alternate timeline where he just fucked everything up.
Yep, and that's one we're living in now.
Yeah, I know. I know. Dogs and cats living together.
So that's the story. That's the story of.
I'm gonna have to go to his site and look at his clear pictures of him and with Abraham Lincoln, and you know,
he's got a lot. He's got a lot of stuff on YouTube that's pretty interesting. I mean,
Sure.
I don't think any of it's true, but
Yeah,
but
of course.
it's an interesting story.
I agree. I mean, same with me with the selling your soul to the devil. I just think it's a lot of jealousy. But again, what do I know? I don't know everything.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, this could be
never
true.
know.
For all we know, all this stuff could be true, and all of us here who were just naysayers could just be keeping everybody back by not, believing in it, by not progressing with it. I mean, like Barry knew. Barack Obama,
Yeah.
he knew.
Well,
It helped him get presidency. So maybe Andrew could follow suit.
now you know that he's going to run in 2020, so put your vote in.
I don't know. I'm curious. I'm gonna look up this guy now and find more about him. But Andrew does. It does seem interesting. Did you ever see the show Fringe?
I've watched a couple episodes, but I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah, a lot of that. What he did was he experimented with like LSD and stuff like that, where your mind would go to an altered state and you could basically travel through parallel universes. Like you could take yourself there. I mean, I think a lot of that stuff's interesting. A lot of things that we don't know, psychedelics. It could take your mind to, like how you said, the kids are still underdeveloped and they accept everything. If you could trick your mind into doing that, why not? What if you can be an adult and you can be on mushrooms and open to see another dimension?
Well, I don't know, but Andrew's using real science, man. He's got Nikola Tesla on his side, so.
No, I understand that, but you said to a certain age he could only do that, right?
I mean, you can still time travel, but I guess what they're saying is it's kind of hard to grasp the different time when you're traveling back and forth, and it just gets confusing.
That's interesting. I would like to have that problem. I'd be all about Marty McFly getting that book, that sports almanac.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Placing a couple bets here and there. But again, we could ruin the future by doing that.
Make it even worse.
But who's to say? Who's to say? Like Hugh Hefner was on a time travel, and he had the foresight to make Playboy. Hey, maybe guys want to see a naked woman, and we'll throw some shit around there, some shitty articles, and fuck, it made him a billionaire.
Some claims that Trump was a time traveler.
How's that?
I think it was Trump's dad had bought all of Nikola Tesla's his stuff.
That's right. He inherited all his schematics and stuff.
Yeah, and then there's a couple books that were published in the 1800s where they tell a story of a kid named Barron Trump.
Okay.
And he's a time traveler.
Really?
And and if you read some of the books, they talk about some of the stuff that's going on right now.
So these books were written in the 1800s and they're talking about times right now.
Yeah.
Things right now.
Like look up
Interesting.
if you go on YouTube, look up Trump the time traveler, and you'll see a bunch of stuff about the books. And there's 2 books.
You know what? I think I remember watching a video like this about a year ago. How people were talking about him. Are Barron and Donald Trump, are they time travelers? I think I did see something that alludes to that. I'll have to check this out more because this seems really interesting.
It's pretty. It's when you read the some of the inserts from the books, it's kind of like you're like, holy crap, this might have some merit to it. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But,
So what do you think? Do you think any of this is true?
Nah, I doubt it. I mean, I there could be time travel. I don't know at some point, but until I actually see someone actually do it, or so
Until Bill and Ted show up.
yeah, show up.
and
Their excellent
in their
adventure
box
and
yeah.
play their guitar. Man, I tried to watch it the other day, and I couldn't watch it because it didn't hold up.
It's so horrible. Which one? The first or the second
first one?
Because the first one I remember was the better one. The second one was pretty shitty. The Bogus Journey. Remember the Bogus Journey?
I tried to watch that first one. I went maybe 20 minutes into it, and I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. But speaking of excellent adventures, looks like we're about finished with ours. So
Wrap this up?
Yep, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, why not? All right, Logan. Well, this was a good time I had with you. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this, and if they want to, talk to us or send us a message or just subscribe to us, you can go to our website, thestrangepodcast.com.
What's the website again? Is it thestrangepodcast.com?
No, I said it is thestrangepodcast.com.
Okay, so thestrangepodcast.com. That's the website.
No, you're not getting it right.
What
I
is
said
it?
thestrangepodcast.com.
Oh, okay. That's where I'm going to go. That's where everyone should go.
Yeah, not .net, not .edu.
Why didn't you get a .net? It would have been so much better.
So if anybody wants to go to our website, you can subscribe to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that bullshit. We got it all ready.
So yeah, just like everything, subscribe to everything, and
you can find us on iTunes or Google Play. So we're here for all your enjoyment or all your hate, whatever you want. We're here for you.
Go ahead and leave us a comment and send us some emails. We'd love to hear from you guys.
All right, everyone. Have a good night and a good day, good evening, good morning.
We'll see you next week.